Time is running out for Golden State and their golden era as the Warriors look to claw back to success with another superstar signing in Kawhi Leonard. Before we get into the video, if you want to win a PS5 with NBA 2K21 and Madden NFL 21 included, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. King Kawhi toppled the mighty Warriors to cut their triple title shot short with an incredible MVP Finals display in 2019. Since then, a disappointing playoffs in 2020 and an unfortunate postseason injury in 2021 has brought him back to the drawing board. Having to come back from deficits in a tough series against the Mavericks and another 2-0 deficit against the Jazz forced Kawhi to play extra minutes and take the brunt of the load for a Clippers team looking to make their first ever conference finals. Unfortunately, this led to a knee sprain which kept Kawhi out of the postseason for good. The only positive the Clippers and Kawhi can take away from this is they managed to see Paul George step up his postseason game and really take the initiative. A phenomenal performance from George helped the Clippers pass the Utah Jazz without their best player. This is probably one of the only contributing factors to Kawhi potentially staying with the Clippers. The other is Ty Lue, a championship-winning player and coach who adapted incredibly well with all the difficulties he faced. Before Kawhi went down, Lue lost a key component to his bench when Serge Ibaka went out early in the playoffs to get surgery on his back. With all these obstacles, from injuries to being on the brink of elimination against both Dallas and Utah, Lue still managed to push a depleted Clippers team deep into the playoffs. We shouldn't forget, however, that Kawhi made his blockbuster decision to go to the Clippers for one reason: more championships. No matter how you cut it, the Clippers haven't been as dominant as we, or even he, first expected. On leaving Toronto in 2019, it was said that all the pieces had to come together in order for Kawhi to choose a team that best fulfilled his needs. That meant an extra superstar in Paul George, a coach already in place like Doc Rivers, and some healthy backup from the bench. Blowing a 3-1 lead, the Clippers fell with a shameful loss to the Nuggets in the 2020 Western Conference semifinals. Following the firing of Rivers, they also dismissed Montrezl Harrell and Lou Williams, both fundamental parts of the Clippers' recent success. The additions of Rajon Rondo, Serge Ibaka, Nicholas Batum, and Luke Kennard did little to improve their regular season standing and even less in the post, as the Clippers primarily relied on Reggie Jackson, Paul George, and Kawhi Leonard for offensive production. The emergence of Terrence Mann was a nice bonus, but he only got minutes when Kawhi was injured. So it's fair to say the Clippers are a bit of a mess. They transitioned twice and still underachieved. Kawhi's not getting any younger either. At 30 years of age, most players would argue that they have at least 5 to 6 years of good basketball left. Leonard's injury history suggests otherwise for him. The management of Kawhi's knee problems have caused plenty of controversy over the last few years. The San Antonio Spurs say he quit on them in the 2017-18 season when he played only 9 games of the entire season despite being cleared to play by the Spurs medical staff. Now the Clippers have the same queries by calling it an apparent knee injury in every headline imaginable. It's clear that no matter how much basketball he plays, he will most likely become less durable than most players heading into their veteran years. He appears to be the kind of star that needs the perfect storm, which is exactly what happened in Toronto, apart from having a fantastic front office and a future coach of the year in Nick Nurse. Kawhi was also offered lots of flexibility, less expectations, and load management. The same has been offered at the Clippers except for the expectations part. The Clippers expected Kawhi to be the answer. Pat Beverly even said himself on the Paul George and Kawhi Leonard trade at the time, "I just won the effing championship." And why wouldn't he have thought that? Because here's the thing, Kawhi has done his part. He averaged 48.9% from the field and 28.2 points per game in the 2020 playoffs, and a staggering 57% from the field and 30.4 points per game in the 2021 playoffs. His rebounds per game sat at 9.3 in the 2020 postseason and a modest 7.7 in 2021. He's played almost as many regular season games as he did with Toronto, and his assists per game has gone up every year for the last 4 years. We haven't even spoken fully about the defensive end. Kawhi steals for fun, and when he guards the opposition, their offense drops. Just ask Giannis about Kawhi's fateful switch on defense back in the 2019 Eastern Conference Finals. All of a sudden, the Greek Freak's stats dropped off a cliff and airballs became his go-to. The truth is that other than a so-called sit-out season, Kawhi has improved pretty much every year since he's been in the NBA. And what championship-caliber teams care most about is ingrained in Leonard's DNA. They want players who can win on the biggest stage, and Kawhi is clutch. A 2-time Finals MVP with an emergence against the Heat in 2014 and a dismantling of the Warriors dynasty in 2019. Kawhi Leonard is firmly one of the top 5 players in the NBA today. Any team who gets him instantly becomes a contender whether there's another star or not. He's that good. So if Golden State had any aspirations of reaching the heights of the last decade, this is certainly a deal they'd be looking at. And it's not as unlikely as news sources make it out to be. Remember, this is the same team that only 5 years ago pulled off the signing of another top 5 player, Kevin Durant. Durant silenced his critics by winning back-to-back finals MVP, and the Golden State Warriors retained the title 3 out of 4 years as a result. After his disastrous injury in 2019 that forced him out of the Eastern Conference semifinals and again in the finals, KD broke away from the Warriors to Brooklyn, where he took a break from basketball for a year while he healed. This has forced the Warriors to hit the reset button. With a double injury to star Klay Thompson and consistent injury problems among the group over the last 2 years, it leaves Golden State in a precarious position where they can't quite pick up where they left off. But what they can do is ensure the extra depth and star power of another player who gives them plenty of options for Klay's comeback. More offensive production with a two-point assassin who can also hit the three leaves Thompson and Curry in a wonderful position to get back to basics. Whereas on the defensive end, running into Draymond Green is bad enough, but when you have to contend with Kawhi, it's just a whole different kind of nightmare. Now, Golden State doesn't have the cap to pull this kind of trade off, so they'll have to let go of some of their future stars if they want this to happen. This will have to be a sign-and-trade deal, which could see them get rid of Wiseman and Wiggins, a package which only makes sense if they throw in the 7th overall pick and the 14th pick. Basically, they'd be trading up their future, which was a process they worked on for the last 2 years. Particularly with 7-foot, 20-year-old Wiseman, who on his debut made 19 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 steals to set the tone for what looks to be an incredibly bright future. But successful franchises become impatient, and in business, there's no room for error. This kind of signing would be an incredible win for the Warriors, as they would be catapulted back in contention for postseason success instantly. Would the Clippers take this deal? If Kawhi wants out, then they'd have to concede it's not the worst offer in the world. A center with huge potential and a reinvigorated Andrew Wiggins could bode well for a team that made the Western Conference Finals partially without Kawhi. Paul George has refined his postseason game and really impressed this playoffs. The unfolding brilliance of Terrence Mann gave us no pause for thought of how deep the Clippers truly are. And with Ty Lue's masterclass in the postseason, it's clear for all to see that the Clippers aren't that far away. Which rolls us on to another important point. If they're not that far away, why would he leave? Surely trusting the process and rebuilding for a third season is the ideal way to put his best foot forward. Well, we don't think so. It's not that the Clippers won't have a shot next year with the same team. It's that Kawhi will have a better shot with the Warriors. 3 players who have had a massive impact on the Warriors' success, Green, Thompson, and Curry, will still be there. Kawhi teams up with them and you've got 4 Hall of Famers. As they say in the movies, it would be an instant box office hit. The location counts for something too. Kawhi doesn't have to switch back to the cold weather of the East. He can instead lay back on the West Coast and enjoy the ride. This is something that feels inevitable if the Warriors and Kawhi both want it, which they clearly do. It's just a matter of how much they have to give up to get it. Discussions of dropping Draymond Green's contract have been floated also, but this kind of decision signals the beginning of the end for what has been their best defensive player of the last 5 years. It's far less daunting than throwing Klay or Steph under the bus, which, let's face it, will never happen. The Splash Brothers are just too rooted in the Warriors' culture for that to even be a conversation. It's going to be the Clippers who make the final demands. And right now they have questions of their own to answer. Do they blow it up after 2 seasons without a finals appearance? Reggie Jackson becomes an unrestricted free agent, and if retained, they'd potentially have to pay more than they'd like despite being satisfied with the playoff success. Nicholas Batum looks to be gone, and things won't get any easier with the Heat and Mavericks stirring up interest by aggressively targeting Kawhi this summer. But the template set out by Golden State in the past shows it's the best path to take for everyone involved. So if the Claw can be coaxed to the Bay Area, who's to say they can't bring home a title with Steve Kerr still at the helm? A coach who managed to keep ego from affecting the Warriors' most successful side, which boasted 5 superstars at once. Kawhi can fit, he just needs to plan his escape. Something he'll be able to do this time without Kawhi Watch and a much clearer picture of his future success. Do you think Kawhi Leonard fits in with the Warriors? Comment below to let us know your thoughts, and be sure to subscribe for more. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss another one of our videos. We'll see you next time, latest Hoops fans. Until then, keep shooting your shot!